Like you can't, like if you were to just ramp up the intensity, ramp it up, and let's say your body was really kind of telling you to pull back. Maybe there's a little tweak or, you're getting a little feedback and you were to just stay on it, right? Cooking at 750 degrees, like you're going to burn the cake, right? And you're going to burn your body out. And it's just not going to work. And it's the same thing in business, just like you said, like just worry about getting a little bit better. Just worry about getting a little bit better every single day. Today, we are here with the man, the myth, the legend, Jeremy Feldman, my brother, the man who started it all, who made Frequency Fitness happen. He's been doing exercise and working out since a really young age and got all the way up to high-level competitive martial arts. And since then, he's taken that same drive, that same ambition that brought him to where he was, and he's started a real estate company, and now he's taken the Charleston Real Estate area by storm with his team over at Lively Charleston, where they're changing the way real estate agents work, sell, and market to their consumers. Jeremy, what's up, bro? Thanks for coming on. My brother from the same mother. What's up, man? Dude, that's quite the intro. I need to take a second here and let my head come down from the clouds a little bit. You pumped me up a little bit there.
Yeah, well, somebody's got to do it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Awesome, man. Well, I'm definitely excited and honored that's a weird word. I don't really use that, but I'm excited to be on the show, man.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to have you. Thanks for coming on the very first episode.
Of course.
I felt like it wouldn't be real if we didn't have the founder on for the first one.
You know what? I'm going to say it. I'm just going to come out with it. I'm honored to be on the first episode. Of all the people you could have asked, of all the options, I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
I think this might have a little something to do with me sticking up for you with like bullies and stuff in middle school.
Yeah.
This is kind of a repaying the favor type thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fair enough. It always comes around. So I need to make sure I do a good job keeping this mic right in front of my face too. That's going to be a tough habit for me to break here.
Yeah, me too. I've actually watched a lot of podcasts in the last week where people have similar mics and just watch how they work and how they talk and how they maneuver the microphone so that they don't end up turning their face to the side and not picking up any audio.
Yeah, exactly. They're definitely trained. So, it's our first one here, but I think we'll get the hang of it.
Absolutely. So, tell us a little bit, for the people that don't know, tell us a little bit about your story, where you started, how you first got into, working out and fitness and exercise. How did all that start up?
Yeah, man. So, I'm going to be honest. I started working out because I wanted to meet girls.
And super common.
I was going to say, I don't know what percentage of dudes that applies to, but it's got to be like up in the 90s. I would think.
High 90s.
Mostly upper 90s. Man, I was kind of a nerdy, skinny little dude in high school. And, I saw the muscular football player guys and, they all had girlfriends and I didn't. So I was like, well, I guess I need muscles. And that's kind of where the desire started. I would say it was quite a long time before the muscles actually came, but that's where the original desire to start working out came from.
Yeah, you got that typical tall, lean, lanky, hard gainer body type.
Dude, super hard. Although it's now I'm kind of on the flip side of that now, approaching 40 here. It's not as hard to put on a little bit of size, but getting rid of this lower back fat that just popped up over the past year, that's been a little bit more of a challenge.
It's a different kind of size at this point.
Yeah, I have new challenges now. Got the girlfriend, also the back fat. Now I need to lose the back fat. Working on it.
Hey, man, dad bods are in right now.
Yeah, I'm pushing it. So, that's kind of where it started, and then also, used to watch as a kid. I watched, all the Jean-Claude Van Damme movies and, The Last Dragon with Bruce Leroy and the Ninja Turtles. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Bruce Leroy is a legend.
Dude, he's a legend. He's a legend, man. They were talking about him on First Take today.
Were they really?
Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith, they were talking about how James Harden has the glow. Only show enough can stop him. I was like,
If you're not at least like 35, you don't know that. You don't get
no
it.
idea what you're talking about. I remember I wore a Last Dragon ugly sweater to an ugly sweater Christmas party we hosted a few years back.
I remember that sweater.
And only you and like one other person actually got the joke.
Yep.
Everybody else just looked at me like I was an idiot.
But you knew that, and it was still worth it.
It was totally worth it.
Still worth it.
It was the best like $7 I spent that year.
100%. So yeah, I watched all those, and then UFC. This is back when like the UFC was like you would have to go to Blockbuster. For anybody under 30, Blockbuster, it used to be this big company that you could go rent movies from. Anyways, Google it. So you could go to Blockbuster and get a DVD and like rent it and then bring it back. You probably remember this. You're a little younger, but we would watch UFC fights and then like try the moves out.
I remember we would watch UFC fights and then you would put me in ankle locks in the basement.
Yep. Yeah. That's why you have such great ankle mobility right now.
Absolutely.
You got such a money squat. Just break it. Yeah, so that was, all that kind of led to a desire. It probably all came back to the same thing, to be honest. You know what I mean? It was about, meeting girls, but I had to get muscles and I had to be able to kick some ass in order to do it. At least that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had this strong desire to learn, karate or martial arts or something, right? Taekwondo. And so I had my best friend at the time in high school. He was in Taekwondo and he was just like total badass. You know what I mean? He could do like all these cool kicks and like it was so annoying because we'd just be like hanging out at school. He would just do like a 360 spin kick and kick some leaves or something. And like everybody would be like, oh, that was so cool. And I'd be like, damn it, I wish I could do that. So I definitely was fiending for some attention there, in the younger days. And so as soon as I could afford it, to pay for it, got my own job. I got into Taekwondo and I was pretty serious about that. And I met, as we live in Colorado Springs. So like we grew up in Colorado Springs. So we had proximity to the Olympic Training Center. And so a lot of the like highest level athletes in the whole world lived in Colorado Springs. And it just so happened that I kind of, got connected with some of the Taekwondo guys that were like the best in the country. And so, I got some pretty strong mentorship, even like really just like right out of the gate. So pretty fortunate in that respect. And then just kind of learned, a lot of things out of the gate training with those guys. And so that's where, to kind of bring it full circle back to your question, that's where I had this desire for, athletic performance and strength and conditioning and, working fast twitch muscle fibers and core strength and kind of putting it all together. It was really for that. So I could excel with that, which is kind of my original, like true, athletic passion was, Taekwondo and competition and, trying to make nationals and possibly an Olympic team.
Awesome. That's a hell of a story. How far did you make it in your Taekwondo endeavors?
Well, I like to brag that I had a couple of back-to-back quarterfinal finishes at U.S. Open, which if you don't know Taekwondo, that might sound impressive, but if you're in that world, you realize that really doesn't mean shit. And it basically means you could get like a first round bye and then like beat some kid with Nebraska that's like never been out of his state before. And like, there you go, you're in the quarterfinals. So
went from Nebraska to Colorado Springs to fight at altitude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the poor bastard can't breathe at all. So it's not that big of an accomplishment, but, I won nationals in the AAU circuit, which was, pretty cool for me, at the time. And then I got to go to national team trials, which is where, kind of the top, top 5 or 6 guys in, each weight class in that circuit, they go compete for national team, which is going to be, and then you would go to like the Pan Am championships or something like that. So I made the finals in that. Unfortunately, ran into a better man, guy with a little bit more experience than me, and really got my ass kicked, to be honest with you. in my finals there. Still missing about 2 minutes of my life that I still don't remember from that encounter. But yeah, that was probably at or near the pinnacle for me.
All right. So it wasn't kicking me in the head in the basement when the phone was ringing and it turned out to be mom.
That's top 5.
That's easily top 3.
That's top. Yeah. But if you were paying attention in any of those Bruce Lee movies, to never turn away from an enemy. And I mean, weren't we? I don't know. Weren't we doing some drills or something like that?
Yeah, we were doing some sort of a drill, and I kept like dropping my head, and you were like, if you keep dropping your head, I'm gonna kick you in the head.
What's what a good big brother's supposed to do, right? Teach lessons.
Sure enough, I kept dropping my head. You kicked me in the head, and as soon as you did, the phone rang. And this was back before cell phones existed, or at least where everybody had one, including like 8-year-olds.
Yep.
So it was the house phone that was ringing, and you ran over. You like knocked me unconscious. And you ran over to the phone and picked it up and grabbed it, and it was Mom. She was checking in for something. And you're like, Mom, I gotta go ahead and knock Seth out, and like hung up.
Didn't even try to play it cool. Like, nope, everything's good. Nothing to worry about here.
Oh, yeah, no, I do remember she called back like 7 seconds later. She probably just hung up the phone, picked it up, and then hit the redial button.
Yep.
To just immediately call again.
Star 69'd it.
Yeah, pretty sure I went to class that night too. Probably not my smartest one.
Yeah, this is before CTE and all that stuff had come out, so we didn't really have that info
back then. 1992, whatever year it was.
Yeah, it was more of a brush. It was more of a brush than a real kick, but
yeah.
So yeah, that's top 5 for sure.
Top 5, nice. All right, so from Taekwondo, where'd you head after that? You eventually got into like functional fitness and lifting and bodybuilding and using weights primarily.
Yep. Yeah. So this is one of those stories, where like if I only knew then, what I know now, but I actually like jacked my back up real bad when I was like 20, 21 or so, because again, I wanted to be explosive, train, these fast twitch muscle fibers, and in Taekwondo, it's a very explosive sport. So I was looking for ways to kind of gain an edge there and to improve. And so I think I saw in a Men's Health magazine or something, power cleans, and it was probably like 3 boxes, like great for this, and this. And I was like, shit, that's exactly what I need. And so I tried to teach myself the power clean from a couple of pictures in a Men's Health magazine. And to top it all off, I was at a YMCA, and I was using an easy curl bar to power clean the shit. And so if you guys don't know what an easy curl bar is, it's like the one that like zigzags across, so you can like turn your hands inward or outward, but it's certainly not for cleans or snatches.
It's definitely intended for like biceps and triceps.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that is not the right equipment. So, and then God only knows what I looked like. I mean, if I could, I don't know. I don't want to know. Like I'm glad there weren't cell phones back then, because I would have gone viral.
Yeah, you'd have been on like Gym Fail Nation's Instagram
all day, dude. All day doing power cleans with the easy curl, bro. Like, yes. So, anyways, and I ended up hurting my back. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I probably had all sorts of like terrible, setup issues and the whole thing. So, kind of had to figure it out on my own. You know what I mean? Like a lot of it was from like magazines and shit like that. And so I didn't really have a coach or anything at that time. So it's almost like when I was at my kind of athletic prime, I was also at I guess my lowest point from an information standpoint, as far as athletic performance and like what will actually achieve the result I'm looking for. So I definitely had this desire to like learn this stuff. And then, what happened was there was, I forget what year it was, but the Olympic Training Center, they shut down the Taekwondo team. There was some drama, there was some scandal or something. I don't know the whole story, something to do with some people doing some bad stuff and with drugs and this, that, and the other. I think it went all the way up to the IOC, and they shut down the program, the International Olympic Committee. So they shut down the program. So everybody went home, right? And I had a few buddies, in the program, and they ended up going back to their hometowns and starting kind of this concept. I don't know if it was new, but it was new to me in seeing what they were doing. And it was basically a CrossFit gym with a martial arts school right next door. And the concept was super cool in that, normally parents that take their kids to like soccer practice or karate or whatever it is, they just kind of sit there, reading a book or a magazine or just, bored, right? Waiting for the kids to be done. And then on the flip side, it's like, how do parents get their workout in? You know what I mean? If they have the kids, and like, it's hard to do that. If the place doesn't have a center for kids or a place where they can go, like, it's tough. And so it was kind of this perfect combination where it's like, hey, you drop the kids off at Taekwondo class, get your workout in, circle back, pick them up, and like everybody got what they needed done, right? And they were having a lot of success with it. So my best friend Donovan and I were, He was also a Taekwondo guy, super high level athlete. He'd kind of wrapped up his career as well, kind of around that same time. And we were like, you know what, we could do that. Like, why not? Let's rock it out. Like, we know the martial arts side. We'll go learn kind of the fitness side. And, we went and got our CrossFit level 1 certifications. And within 40 days, I had sold all my stuff living in Denver, sold everything I own. Donovan flew out here. We drove back. And, I slept on his couch while we figured it out. That was basically as far as the plan had gone. And then we figured it out. And that was kind of how we ended up starting it. But that's how Frequency was born, was we opened that up and a martial arts school right next door.
Very cool. Very cool. So I actually remember when you were sleeping on the couch, I came down to visit. I was living in DC at the time.
Oh boy.
And I had work in Charlotte. So I crushed my project for the week, and I finished by Thursday afternoon, so I could drive down and spend a long weekend with you guys. And I slept on the chair on the ottoman because you had the couch.
The guest bed.
Yeah. And I slept there for 3 nights, and I just remember on the way home, I had to drive back to D.C. It was an 8-hour drive, and I had lost my cell phone, and I had one CD in the CD player, so I listened to that one CD on repeat for 8 hours. And in that moment, I was like, I'm going to move to Charleston.
Sold. Yeah, that's about how it goes. Like, you had an epic trip if you're like limping back home with no phone and
yeah,
just a bunch of hazy memories of a good time.
Yeah, not really sure what happened, but I do remember listening to the same 8 songs for 8 straight hours because the radio in North Carolina is basically NASCAR.
Yeah. That's right. And then I remember I kind of, because it seemed like you were pretty miserable up there in DC for a little while, right?
Yeah. I had some ups and downs between traveling and work and just projects that I was on that I wasn't a big fan of. And
yeah. And you were you were at or near like a low point health wise, I think, kind of in that time, right?
Pretty low. Yeah. I think the worst was when we got back from the Middle East. That was when I was definitely my heaviest and my least athletic and most unwell from a health perspective.
Yeah.
But moving down to Charleston from DC was definitely up there. Like I wasn't in great shape, or I didn't do a lot of the things that needed to be done to take care of myself and my body and my mind.
Yeah, and I remember too. That's why I was kind of I remember kind of peer pressuring you for a while, like, come move to Charleston. I think you were trying to find work, and which is sometimes challenging down here. And so, but I remember that, kind of thinking like, if only I could get you here, and then it's like, just come to the gym, you can come work out for free, like whatever. But just plugging into that, like, and what that could do for you, I just felt like it would be such a good thing. And, and then of course, come kick it with me for a little bit, and your niece is here and all that other stuff too.
Yeah.
But, I remember that. I remember, giving you a hard time. I feel like it took almost a year for you to actually be able to come down here.
Took 2 years.
Was it 2?
It was 2.
Dang. That's wild.
Yeah, it took a long time to finally find a job, and then I remember when I got the phone call, because it was an accident. I always screen my phone calls. Like, if it's important, if I don't have your number, you're going to voicemail. If it's important, you'll leave me a voicemail. And I was messing around on my phone, and I accidentally, like, I was doing something, and I was like swiping on Instagram or something, and my phone rang, and I swiped, and it answered the phone. And I was like, oh shit. Hold on one second. Like, I was at work. I was like, hold on one second. And I went outside, and it was a recruiter from Tech Systems. She was like, hey, I got a job opportunity in Charleston. Do you want it? And I was like, cool, real quick, before we move any further, are we talking South Carolina or West Virginia? And she was like, I didn't even know there was a Charleston, West Virginia. I was like, cool, make it happen. I don't need any more details.
That's all I need to know.
I've been trying for 2 years. Like, I don't care what the salary is. I don't care about anything. And I did very similar to what you did. I sold everything that I owned. At the time, I had a Lexus IS 250. If it didn't fit in the car, it didn't come with me. And so that meant I sold like 97% of my possessions. I came down with like a computer and a couple posters.
Well, I remember actually that car was bursting at the seams. Like,
oh, yeah.
You literally had the windows cracked with like shit sticking out of the window. And I was like, did you drive 8 hours like this?
Yeah, absolutely. We had to roll the windows down and take stuff out before we could open the doors. Otherwise, it was going to fall out.
Yeah. Oh my God. I remember. Yeah. I remember. So, but that was, yeah, man, good time. And then you slept on my couch for a couple months.
No, you guys had the spare room.
Oh yeah, well we had a spot for you, figuratively, I guess.
Yeah, it was a futon, but it was basically a couch.
Close
It was a fold out couch.
Close enough. Yeah.
So all right, cool. So from Frequency, you started Frequency and the Taekwondo school at the same time. All right, so kind of what happened from there, right? They've since separated into their own separate businesses and kind of gone off and done their own thing. What kind of spawned that?
Yeah, so we had this idea, this concept. Cool, parents drop the kids off, get your workout in, scoop the kids, head home, grab dinner, do your thing, right? And it worked. It was super cool. It worked really well. And what ended up kind of happening, our original vision was like we were partner, we're 50-50 partners on this thing, and we're gonna grow them. And then we didn't really have a plan beyond that, to be honest. To be honest with you, it was just teach people how to work out and kick shit. And then, both of them were successful, and they started to need their own like respective CEOs, right? It was like we were both kind of co-operating both of them. So neither of them being the businesses was really getting like the right attention that it needed, So we just kind of made a decision like, hey, let's split these things up. And, Donovan, he went to martial arts school. That was always kind of his he had more of a vision for that anyways, or more of a passion, for working with the kids than I did. And then I, took over the gym, and that was that. That's why they kind of separated. And then we had we had a period there of really, really strong growth. And I learned a lot. The Frequency was, I always tell everyone Frequency was like business school for me. It's where I learned, when you first get into something, anybody who's read the E-Myth, they know this, but when you first get into something, you think, oh, I love doing this and I'm good at it. So I'm going to start my own business and I'm just going to do this all the time, right? Whatever it is. I think in the E-Myth, the example they use is like you're a baker and you open a bake shop, right? Well, I love to work out. I was a fitness guy. And so I want to teach people how to do fitness, right? But you quickly learn that like you actually don't do too much of that at all. You have to learn marketing, you have to learn sales, you have to learn in the beginning, you do your own bookkeeping, and I would spend an hour at least cleaning the gym every day and then learning how to build vendor relationships and design apparel and like all this stuff, right? And I learned all that through Frequency. You know what I mean? I have a business degree, but like none of that, it doesn't prepare you for any of that shit, for like the real stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hiring employees. I'd never hired anybody before. I'd never been a leader in that respect, or been somebody that people came to for direction, right? So just kind of like learning how to do all those things, building out a training program for staff, right? Never done that before. So that was, but these are all the things that are fundamental to any business, right? It's just that was my first go around at it. So Frequency, I'm always grateful for just all the lessons learned there and the relationships. Met a ton of amazing people. Most of the friends that I have in Charleston are in one way or another through the gym. We've crossed paths somehow because of Frequency. But that's kind of I went off on a little bit of a tangent there. I forget what the original question was, but
no, you're good.
Yeah, that's kind of the story.
You're good. How does all that stuff that you learned doing, going to, air quote business school with Frequency, how did all that translate into what you're doing now with Lively Charleston and the real estate team, and how you've been able to develop that and build that out and change the way that you guys see real estate happening as opposed to the traditional ways?
Yeah, that's a cool question. I would say kind of going back to what I said about how most of what I learned, it was really just the fundamentals of business, right? So learning how to market, learning how to sell. When we would set up our coaches development program, I think we originally called it the ITP, the instructor training program, right? And we branded it as this whole program, right? And what we had to do though was recruit people to want to be a part of that, right? Like, why should they want to come be a coach with us, And especially early on, we didn't have that much money. We weren't making anything. I was barely paying my bills. I didn't have a whole bunch of money to pay somebody else. So there was this kind of like selling the vision, you know what I mean, that I learned how to do. And then just creating the systems and the processes. So all that stuff has translated into, now what we're doing with Lively Charleston. And really would translate into any business, to be honest with you. It just happens to be that I'm in the real estate business, but the ability to have some sort of a vision, to articulate that and clearly communicate that in a way that gets people excited and want to be a part of it. And then just create the systems and the processes and the training and, figure the shit out as you go. Right. Yeah. That might be the biggest one, to be honest, is you just learn that like, you don't need to know it all. You just kind of keep marching forward and you figure the shit out as you go. Right. And that's just kind of a muscle that you train.
Yeah. I mean, just like any other muscle or just like any other like fitness routine, right? Just come in and put the work in every single day and get 1% better.
100%.
Or even 0.5% better. Like every day you progress just a little bit further. And then, who knows where you're at by the end of the year. You could be 30 times better than you were at the beginning.
Dude, and that's so spot on. That's another like really super awesome lesson that like it translates from the fitness world, but also over into the business world. Is that like when you try to re-articulate what you just said, I heard a great analogy from Alex Hormozy. I think it was him. But it was, if you want to bake a cake, right? And you put all the ingredients in and the cake calls for baking it for 30 minutes at 350 degrees. You cannot bake it for 10 minutes at 750 degrees and get the same result, right? Like you just can't speed up the cake. You got to do it the way that it says to do it, and you have to wait if you want the output, right? And it's the same thing. It's the same thing in training, right? You can't just go, just smash chest every single day for I guess you could, but,
you say that. You say that as every time we have chest day come up, we go chest day, best day.
I see the look on your face. You're like, is that a dare? Is that a challenge? No, but like you can't, like if you were to just ramp up the intensity, ramp it up, and let's say your body was really kind of telling you to pull back. Maybe there's a little tweak or, you're getting a little feedback and you were to just stay on it, right? Cooking at 750 degrees, like you're going to burn the cake, right? And you're going to burn your body out. And it's just not going to work. And it's the same thing in business, just like you said, like just worry about getting a little bit better. Just worry about getting a little bit better every single day. So yeah, spot on. That's a huge lesson that I learned through athletics, through fitness, and in business.
Oh yeah, good stuff. So we are running short on time here. So the last couple of things, real quick, that we want to touch on. We're going to go back to the fitness thing. If you were speaking to somebody who is just starting their fitness journey today, right? They're not waiting until tomorrow. They want to get started today. What is one piece of advice that you would give them?
I would say go look at Seth Feldman's before and after picture.
Follow that guy.
Yeah. I mean, no BS. You didn't know I was going to say that, but just do it. Here's what I would say. Talk to Gareth. Just do it. You don't have to be ready to start. You just have to start. You don't have to feel any sort of way to start. Just get your ass in there and do it and get the first one. Just get the first one. That's it. After that, the cool thing is like science is on your side, right? Like your body's going to release dopamine and serotonin and like your muscles are going to be kind of sore and you're going to have more energy. You're going to feel freaking fantastic. Just get the first one in and then like the rest will kind of like start to build, right? Get the first one in, then get the second one in, then get the third one in. Now you have momentum and now you're off to the races.
Oh yeah. Good stuff. Well, shit, man. Awesome. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for being the first guest on the FREQ Talks podcast.
Absolutely. This was fun, man. I appreciate it.
Looking forward to having you on again here sometime down the line once we get a little bit more traction and a little bit more under our belt.
Absolutely. And I just want to say you're doing a fantastic job at the helm now at the gym, leading and inspiring, and, you're super jacked and all the dudes want to look like you and all the girls want to be with you. And, no, but seriously though, you're doing awesome things and, leading that community and, just super impressed with you.
Cool. Thanks a lot, man. Hey, what's up? Thank you for checking out this episode of the FREQ Talks podcast. If you found this interesting, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that little notification bell so that you get notified every time we upload a new video. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.